Part 2. Directed energy weapons in the news.
During various attacks, and in several of the attacks, including in Poland, Georgia, Australia, and Taiwan, individuals suspected of being FSB agents were within range of the affected CIA operative. Politico reported that 3 current and former U.S. officials with direct knowledge said the U.S. government suspects that Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU, was behind the alleged attacks.
Anytime they say the Russians are doing it, you know the federal government, the USA, the CIA, the FBI are the ones doing it. The NSA, DARPA, HARP. Anytime they blame the Russians, it's the United States of America.
Now, I'm personally someone who's quite skeptical of the Russia hysteria that has plagued our public discourse for the past few years. I'm also someone who's very anti-interventionist. But I can't deny that these attacks are serious. And no matter who is behind them, be it Russia, China, or one of the many other countries who has it out for us, these attacks are extremely, extremely serious. This sort of sophisticated weapon, with the potential of giving our operatives and diplomats lifelong brain injuries, is nothing to balk at. This is serious and even more concerning if this could be weaponized on a mass scale. Now, hopefully this isn't something that could happen, but Alyssa, you were with the Department of Defense, so dish it. What do you know?
So I'm going to say what I can, but have to plead the fifth on a bit of this. Full disclosure, I was likely a target of one of these attacks and have worked with the CIA task force that's been established to investigate them. The symptoms range in severity. As you mentioned, there was this instance of a former White House official who was fully debilitated. Others have just experienced what feels like sound wave problems, throbbing in the head. It can feel like your ears are popping. No confirmation in my particular instance if it was in fact a result of one of these attacks, but I went through the channels of reporting. And the former administration stood up a task force dedicated to investigating this. The current administration has turned that into a full interagency effort. To your point, it's very serious. It's something that needs to be looked into because, of course, if it could be something that was mass used against the U.S. or other countries abroad, we need to get to the bottom of what this technology is. And beyond that, I don't know that there's much more I could publicly speak to. But Ryan, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, let me take the skeptical side of this. Not skeptical of the symptoms. I think that everybody who is reporting the symptoms from Alyssa to everybody else is accurately reporting symptoms. But
I want you to remember, she just said, I'm former DOD/CIA agent. What is a former DOD/CIA agent and an attractive one doing working for the media? Huh. Put your spin anywhere you choose.
I think that we need to look for other explanations as well.
It can't be the weapons. It can't be the weapons. No. It's their imagination. They got symptoms, but it's all in their head. You see? The disinformation begins now.
As long as we don't have the weapon itself, so
we do.
Kim said this is a very serious weapon. If there's a weapon that can do this, well, where's the weapon?
We've got it.
The U.S. intelligence community has said, well, we think that it's either Russia, China, Iran, or somebody else has this weapon. So that's crazy. Like, show us this weapon that does this thing, and all of these countries can.
Does he seem as inept and ignorant as he looks? Look at the face on this guy. Do you think he has any clue, or do you think he's playing stupid? Because I've been telling you for years here, right there, ringing just, ooh, wow, ringing loud, so loud in my ear right now, I can't hardly stand it. Beep, just instantly on cue. This guy is either lying or he's the dumbest script reader on the planet. We've had these weapons since the 50s. It's just a simple frequency weapon. It's all it is.
Came up with this technology that we can't explain, that we have no evidence of, that we have no insight to, yet it exists and it is invisibly attacking our people around the world. So there was this thing from the 1950s to the 1970s called the Moscow Signal. Very simple phenomenon.
Russia.
So people in the Moscow embassy started saying that they were, that they were having these types of symptoms that they then.
Thanks to the U.S. government doing it to them.
measured that there were higher levels of microwaves coming into the Moscow embassy
How did I know it was microwaves again?
than there were kind of outside the embassy. And it created this panic throughout the continental U.S. as well, that Moscow signal, that the Russians had this microwave technology that was going to be able to attack people. That's actually probably where we get this tinfoil hat idea from, because people were saying, well, if there's microwaves out there, I'm going to protect myself from them, and tinfoil is going to block the microwaves here. There was finally a study done in the late 1970s that looked at it and said, no, actually, we have no evidence whatsoever.
No, actually, the study was that aluminum foil does not help. Faraday cage can help in some instances, but when you run a scalar waves cannot be defended against. These people are using scalar weapons. How did I know that? Just some dumb hick in Hickory, North Carolina.
That the health implications are connected to these microwaves that we're detecting in the embassy, and their final guess was it was some type of an attempt at espionage from the Soviets. So they were accurately detecting like slightly higher levels of microwaves, but they said there's no medical evidence that it causes any health implications. So, unless somebody can point to the weapon, the method that this would be done, then I don't think we can say that because there were some Russian agents in.
Read his body language. Palms up, believe me look, eyebrows raised. Believe me. They don't have these weapons. Where are the weapons? Show us the weapons. Tinfoil hat people. We just can't believe it's happening. Aww.
The vicinity of people, who had these symptoms, that we can say it was anything other than, say, like a migraine or some other type of health implication.
You just had a headache.
Maybe it exists, but
you just had a headache.
Evidence that it does would be my argument.
I think Ryan makes a valid point. I take a slightly different perspective.
Well, she's getting zapped in the air. They're telling her what to say.
The vast majority of the reporting that's public on this, and then there's quite a bit that isn't public, indicates that it could be tied to surveillance or to monitoring. So I think it's important that we separate the notion of this is intended to be a weapon so much as this is intended to gather information or to, monitor one's devices.
No.
So I think that that's going to be an important thing that the task force will have to look at. What is the motive? We shouldn't assume that this is purely being done to hurt and injure people.
Of course
we should
not.
look at all facets of potentially why it's being done.
You don't use a frequency weapon for surveillance. You don't shoot a gun to hear what the enemy is saying. You don't launch a rocket to get the transcripts from somebody's computer. You use a scalar weapon, a microwave, or a frequency weapon when you want to inflict pain. But remember this, remote neural monitoring. They can also use that machine to monitor the minds of the target. Once they have your DNA, which millions of people have given their DNA and their identification up thanks to C19, the beer thing. Once you give up your DNA, they can then get your frequency. That means it targets you specifically in a room of 1 million people. They can just hit you. Just as they said in the last episode, family members were around and they experienced no pain at all. Just the agents.
But I would say, to Ryan's point, when I worked in the Department of Defense, the Pentagon actually has any external-facing windows have blockers up to block radio waves because this kind of technology has existed for 50-plus years, but it's generally been associated more with surveillance than it has as any sort of a weapon.
Nope.
So that's kind of the open question.
In that sense,
right.
We could be doing it to ourselves. Like if it is some type of wireless technology that is that is influencing the environment, that is then influencing our health. Usually there are going to be other CIA agents or other U.S. agents around the people who've gotten sick, so it might be our own technology that is incidentally and accidentally kind of harming us. I don't think we can rule out the possibility that our tech explosion has some health implications.
No, Our tech explosion has some health implications. What did I just say a minute ago about the current state of the world with 1, 2, 3, 4 blank G? The new technology, when you open it up, on the ones that's on the poles, the technology itself for 1, 2, 3, 4 G. Inside it says beer number on the technology, on the poles in America. It says the beer and the number. Did you know that? Oh, God. You know how bad it sucks to be smarter than the people that are paid to read pieces of paper on TV? Extremely more intelligent and extremely more experienced because I am a victim of this technology.
Well, I know that the sound experts are saying they don't think it is sonic or
Who's the
just
experts?
because it does cause brain damage.
Who are
And
the
so
experts?
That's the real concern, is that it's actually changing, the gray matter in the brain, and so that's where it does feel
Yes,
slightly.
I have brain
is this
damage.
done for surveillance?
You're
is this
correct.
done for some sort of a weapon? We don't really know, but. It is still very scary to have this happen to you. And Alyssa, I just want to ask you, are you able to tell us, did this happen here on U.S. soil or did your attack happen somewhere else?
My incident happened on U.S. soil, and I would say I want to make sure to not diminish those who were victims of it, whatever that may be, because I have heard cases where it was severely painful and debilitating for folks.
Every day.
Extremely uncomfortable.
Every day.
And brief, and I've shared a minute-by-minute breakdown with the task force. If it was, in fact, this, I want to give that caveat. But it's something that, the most important thing is determining what is the goal with this, what is the technology, and then, of course, protecting diplomats and government officials who might be exposed.
Yeah, very strange. Very strange that it can also just target certain people and others aren't feeling it. And, that's so bizarre about the whole thing as well. So very intriguing. And I'm sure we'll hopefully get more information as time goes on this.
No, you won't. They won't let it out. You'll only hear this kind of information from people like me who are screaming it from the hilltops that it's happening every single day and people are dying every day from it. I am a victim. And here's a soundbite for all you trolls. I do have brain damage from this technology. God bless. Stuart Peddle, the most targeted citizen.